Welcome back to Beers with Rich. It's Rich Hemming, Under the Radar Reports editor, and I've got a special. Well, it's straight from the IPA stable, Bridge Road Brewers Bling. So in keeping with my, rather eclectic dress style, although, somewhat conventional today, of course. You should see me after the, clock strikes 12. Let's crack it open. Oh God, it's an IPA. Bling. Let's give it a try. Not bad actually. It's not as distinctive as the other two. Oh, I forgot I had to rate that caffeine one. The dog's tail's wagging, so that must mean it was quite good. I finished it. I pushed myself. I actually enjoyed it in the end. That's the thing, you can often, you have to give things a chance. 7 out of 10. IPA is interesting because a lot of these beers seem to have colonial heritage because Indian Pale Ale was actually developed and supported by the British East India Company. And that was, of course, the first joint stock company. So, it's amazing how often we come back to the early to those Napoleonic times. Let's have another toast. Because it was the Napoleonic blockade that actually caused them to export the pale ale to India because they ran out of markets. So, just a fun fact. But let's talk lithium because this brings me back to what what's really driving me this week, which is memories of times gone by when I had the wind flowing through my hair. Well, not really because I was it wasn't a coupe, but I was literally for the first time in an electric car, the Hyundai Kona. Unfortunately, we didn't get that car, not family friendly, it was a bit small, but the torque or acceleration was so impressive I immediately fell in love. So it just drove home how much I think battery cars are going to be part of the future. And this week we have another battery powered issue. So Peter Chilton goes through the acceleration of EV sales or electric vehicle sales this year, which has surprised even sector advocates. It was actually, there's a really good graphic in the report which highlights just how the cars are gaining market share, the plug-in EVs. So, and that's what's driving lithium prices up, which is making Under the Radar Report subscribers happy. There are other components to batteries, but lithium's arguably the most complex because there's a lot of issues around the quality of lithium and the production required to get it there. So the technology is high cost, takes a great deal of time. I mean, West farmers, for instance, could spend a year messing about with their Kidman plant in WA. I mean, this is not complicated stuff. It's one thing running a Bunnings joint. It's another thing producing batteries, let me tell you. The thing that makes lithium interesting as well is the ESG focus. Now, ESG stands for environmental, sustainable and governance. So basically a business must factor in the environmental and social consequences of what it does. So all the reports have it. Like this is the big issue that we've been focusing on and Under the Radar because it's an emerging risk. So it's particularly crucial to lithium because the battery represents like a third of the carbon in an electric vehicle. And now that you're trying to access the giant European market, there's stricter and stricter requirements on getting into that market, and part of that is a carbon tax. So there's, basically it's not enough to just have the product. You have to actually have a product that has as low a carbon content as is available in that market, otherwise you get taxed. So we go into it in more detail, but what's interesting is some of the ASX listed companies that are based over there that have advantages. So European Metal Holdings is one, Vulcan Energy is another. These are located just down the road from a gigafactory, so their transport requirements are much, much lower. So like these are, this is some of the diverse nature of the stocks we cover in this sector. And of course, Like Peter's going to be digging around on these issues, and assures me he's going very deep. And when we go deep, we go Bling. And when we go Bling, we go Bridge Road. Bridge Road Breweries. Drink it when you can. From, I think it's a Victorian one. Not bad, actually. Not bad at all. So we've been looking a lot at the Orocobre Galaxy Resources merger. And Peter's really drilled down on that one. And I guess it's interesting because basically Orocobre spent a lot of time trying to get its processes right at its Olaroz mine in Argentina. So they did a great job getting there, and it's now in expansion mode. And now that they're merging with Galaxy, Galaxy has its Mount Catlin rock lithium processing in WA. But what it's also got is the Sal de Vida, which means salt of life, project also in Argentina. So basically the numbers look good on this. Peter Chilton has run through the numbers, and he's also looking at another stock that we're covering in the next issue that has an interesting technology that allows it to reduce its carbon footprint and reduce water usage. So we're talking about brine lithium mining, which is quite complicated and what really gave Orocobre management a headache. So these are also takeover candidates in our view. One stock we looked at last week, or in this week's issue, which is interesting, is Piedmont Lithium, which really, I guess, awakened investors' interest because it was associated with Tesla. So they did a deal with Tesla. But so then there was too much hype in it. But now that hype quickly has dissipated after a fall in the share price of something like 20%, revolving around a class action and media reports that they're not going to get the correct permits. Now, this stock has always made clear that they're not going to get the permits, but it just highlights the sovereign risk in these companies, and we highlight why we think the reaction was overdone. So before I go on with what's coming up, let me just get back to Bridge Road, and also say why I might look a bit nervous. Well, I'm a bit nervous, to be honest, because we're in lockdown. And if you're watching this, it may well be that by the time you watch this, I will have less hair. Now, we just acquired a clipper. And for the first time, my son, who's sitting just over here, has wanted to get a haircut. And I've been digging around trying to find, instruction on clipping hair. And I got a couple of, like the guy on the video just seems way too optimistic. And, I think, my locks are important to me, but so is my pride. So we're going to see what happens next week. If nothing else, tune in to see me lockless. So in the next coming weeks, we've got like the lithium report, we've got uranium stocks, we've got analysis from the uranium sector, we've got fund managers that are still waiting in the background. These aren't the most patient people in the world. So we roll up our sleeves and we get to the meat of reporting season soon after that. So there's a lot going on. Welcome under the radar. I hope you're doing well. Here's to us. Here's to Bridge Road Breweries, Bling IPA, and as Clive of India might have said, drink it when it's cold.